Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another overview of Essentials of Social Media Marketing. Today, we're going over Chapter 10, Marketing with YouTube. Today, we're going to just do a quick try to do this in 10 minutes. We'll see if we can. It was an epic fail for me last time when I tried to do a 10-minute video between Facebook and Instagram, and it ended up being about 30 minutes. So we'll see if we can do better today. So to start with, I think most people have used YouTube in the past, but just in case you have not, it is the number two, number two, second most visited website in the world, second only to Google, which is their parent company, or Alphabet to be official. And YouTube has been around for now 17 years and is the place where people usually refer to it as a video site, but it is also a social media site. It is the number two most searched site and the number two most engaged with in a social way for comments and subscriptions, for example. So it is pretty big. I'm not going to go much further into section one. I think the power of YouTube does not need to be overstated. I think it's pretty straightforward. But it has the highest reach and viewing hours among ad-supported streaming services in the U.S. It reaches more 18 to 49-year-olds than all linear TV networks combined, which is like um, your major TV networks plus all the other major cable ones. And 2 billion people globally watch YouTube at least once a month. I would argue most people watch it at least once per day. Now, I'm not going to go into the numbers a lot. That's pretty well distributed amongst different age groups. And in terms of monthly time, strangely, South Korea is actually at the highest number. A lot of that is music. Now, there's not a huge disparity here in the various groups. For some social networks, as we will discuss in this textbook and in other places, demographic information is important. Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, even TikTok, and all the others. The major traditional social networks, you do need to know this demographic information. YouTube is a little bit different. It is still a part of the social media world and a social media course because, well, it's often used for social media purposes, but this is not where you go to post social media content. Rather, this is where you go to post content in addition to someplace else where you're also going to be posting social media. This is going to be the interesting stuff here, section 3, which is more about marketing with YouTube. There is an overview of some of the top channels for video marketing in YouTube specifically. All sorts of different channels are very big. A lot of them are focused on kids and gaming. And really, if you think about these commonalities that they have, it is that they are constantly posting stuff first, videos all the time. Then also, they're also very specific and targeted towards who their content is for. Anybody who's ever had kids probably knows what Cocomelon is. That is for very little children. BBC Gaming for a gaming audience. To be perfectly honest, I don't recognize a lot of these names, so I'm not going to pretend to. But if you think about this, back to the idea of niche content and targeted content, the idea of creating content that provides value to a very specific niche audience, that is what some of the greatest YouTube channels and video bloggers will do. Now, I'm not going to go into details on creating a YouTube channel. Similar to the other social networks, creating an account and a channel for a brand is probably not going to be necessary in 99% of the instances where you are working. However, if you do find yourself in that situation where you do need to create a content channel, a place to put your videos on YouTube, this very short chapter in video is for you. The algorithm is interesting. YouTube uses 3 categories, and I have personally done a lot of research on the personalization piece. And that is what you watch for more than about 3 seconds will end up going into the Google database that they have, which is all the content and all of the history of your internet musings and your searches and your reading. Now, just going to a YouTube video and then quickly clicking off after not watching it, that's not going to go into your file per se. But once you start engaging with videos, then it will become part of how Google is defining you as your interests and behaviors go. Now, if you think about the sections where Google algorithm has an impact, there's these 5 here. It is going to be important to know these 5, I would say. The homepage, the algorithm will, depending on what you watch, your homepage is going to be impacted by that. I think we've all seen that before. Suggested videos, of course, is going to be impacted. That's why it's called suggested videos. Same things with search. Fun fact about search is that the search results are not the same for everybody. And that is, if I search children's videos and you search children's videos, we're going to get different results. And it's not going to be too different. I mean, we're going to see a lot of the same stuff. But for example, if anything that I've already watched is likely going to appear higher for me, and anything compared to you, if you haven't watched that video, it may not pop up number 1 for you. I could be scrolling for 10 minutes, find a video I like and watch it. And then next time it's going to appear towards the top. It's not going to appear in that 50th spot, say. Another piece here is the trending section. Trending videos are just what's trending right now. But again, they are going to be based on location more so than, just your history. And subscribers and subscriptions. Once you subscribe to something, you're going to start seeing those videos a lot more quickly in your random searches and trending sections than somebody who doesn't subscribe. For more information on the algorithm, I really like this video. Actually, I highly recommend checking it out in terms of learn more about that. Now, another quick thing on this, I will say the performance here, based when you think about the personalizing recommendations, performance both talks about you, but then also just in general, the video's performance. So like, how interested are you, the individual, interested in watching a video, and how long have you watched it? Well, this, also really is important to think about when it comes to just the general audience as a content creator. YouTube is all about view time, and being able to create a video where most people are watching, say 80 to 90% of it, that's going to get it to rank a lot higher when people are searching for it. And that helps to impact the algorithm. On the other hand, you can think about performance from your own side. If you pull up a Cocomelon video and you watch 3 seconds of it and you're like, this is not for me, I'm out of here, you're probably not going to see something like that super high up in your search, your personalized search piece much in the future. So that is certainly part of it. Let's move on to optimizing YouTube videos. And there are a lot of different elements where you can optimize your content. One is, what are the keywords? YouTube search, as I mentioned before, the number 2 search engine on the line after Google. People will search stuff on YouTube rather than, it's still the number 1 thing that people do when they go to YouTube, rather than like browsing, like people will do on other types of websites. So that is important to have a YouTube search strategy. We're not going to dig into that here today. We want to think about YouTube videos more on a social media impact. But when you think about keywords, also think about titles. What is the title that you want it to be? That's going to be really critical to understand. And then so too will the description. You should put your keyword phrase in there. Again, if you think about how, if anybody has ever used done keyword optimization before, you'll have a good idea of what this is. If you haven't, you don't have to worry about it today, nor will you need to in terms of YouTube from a social media perspective. But the idea is thinking about what people search on YouTube and then optimizing your content and inserting that keyword into various sections of the video as you upload it. So this video that you're watching now, when I upload it to YouTube, I am going to include my keyword. I mean, I don't really want people to search for this and find it because this is very targeted and for a very specific group. However, I will optimize it for the keyword phrase social media with YouTube, I'll say. I'm going to go ahead and write that down. Social media with YouTube, if I can write that down. And that is important to understand. And if you go and take a look at the YouTube video page, after watching this video, you'll see it is included in the title, the description, and a couple of other spots. Now, another couple of areas where it's important, not just keywords, but also transcripts and closed captions. If you have a keyword and you say social media with YouTube, and then you create a transcript version of it, YouTube will capture that and it'll help. It's also really good for accessibility because a lot of people do watch YouTube videos on mute, especially videos that are more educational in nature, such as the one that I'm doing here today. Programs like Zoom will create transcripts automatically for you. Although they're not perfect, there's other programs like rev.com that will create transcripts for you at a very affordable price. Now, when you do that, it's really critical to not only, speak clearly into the microphone like I'm trying to do here, but also to have a good plan for how you use transcripts after the fact. What I like to do, first off, you can upload your transcript file in a couple different formats on YouTube, but then also you can use that transcript later on to turn your YouTube video into a blog post. And I've done that a couple of times, and specifically in a couple of social media courses, and have actually gotten a fair amount of traffic. I think you'd be surprised that once you delete the ums and the you knows and the maybes, how much good content that you can create when you just talk and rap about a subject that you feel passionately about. You should try it sometime. It's similar to podcasting, but it's taking a video and turning it into a more readable form, and something that's also going to be a little bit better optimized for Google. Not saying that YouTube is not good for optimization, but I will say Google search is still the king, even though YouTube is right there at number 2. Finally, we have tags here. Tags and keywords are not actually the same thing. It talks about here, like, think of tags like keywords. But then here it says tags can be useful if content in your video is commonly misspelled. Otherwise, tags play a minimal role in helping viewers find your video. So, while it can be helpful and you should still do this, don't get it twisted. This is not a section that's the be all end all. If anything else, tags are good when you think about brand names that are not commonly spelled. So if you have a company that is called Fizzle, but instead of Fizzle, you spell it, I don't know, Pizel, Fizzle, you're going to want to try a couple different spellings so that when people search the commonly misspelled words, your video will still pop up. This is something that Google originated many years ago when they realized that people would type in Google to get to their website and would often misspell it. Sometimes they'd type a third O. Sometimes they'd spell Google Googel. And they went ahead and set it up where they bought all of the domain names that were approximations of the word Google. If you go to search right now and you type Google, you're going to go right back to Google. They've also implemented this for the search. You'll find if you search something that is misspelled, even if it's a common word, you spell the instead of THE, it's going to give you the results for THE, because Google knows what you're trying to say, and they know the commonly misspelled words are not often the words that people are looking for. People don't usually search for TEH instead of THE. And if they do, there's still a link at the top of the search results where you can click and see the actual findings for that. So that's going to be really important when it comes to tags, but not at all is this the most important element. This is one area of the textbook where I would disagree vehemently with. I have done some testing with this and have found that really tags are most important when there are misspelled, as YouTube points out. Finally, with the thumbnail, there's other areas down here. I'm just going to the thumbnail today. Thumbnail is the video that pops up here. This is very important. Make sure that you have a fun and interesting and good looking thumbnail. And here is an example of what not to do on thumbnails, if I'm being perfectly honest with what Stukent is doing. What Stukent has done here is they have the title of the video, and then they have the thumbnail, right? 7 principles of conversion-centered design. And then it goes into the guy's name. Now, here they have the headshot of the person. Great. Excellent. They have branding in the background. You know it's coming from Stukent. Excellent. Problem is, the exact same words are here in the image, the 7 principles of conversion-centered design. So I am seeing the same message twice. If anything, I need to be using this page, this image here, to use a really attention-grabbing headline instead. If you think about an email, if you're in email marketing or if you're in social media, you don't want to waste this precious space that you have for text. And with YouTube, it's very much the same. If anything, you need to put the name of your video with your keyword in the title so that it appears here. And then if you look up here at the top, you want to be able to use this space for something that will actually get people to click the video and not just regurgitating what was put in the title. Same thing goes down here and down here. Here's a little bit better because it's focusing on the person and their name, not the actual title. So that is really something that's important. If you think about these other products, here's some good ones too. They're just people, I think that's okay. I'm not going to go into cards today, and I'm not going to go into end screens. Very few people make it to the end screens. This is a first world problem. Most of the time, if you get to the end screen, it's because you're watching something from somebody that has created dozens of videos and they have tens and thousands, hundreds, millions of views. So it's something to look at, something to consider. It's probably in the chapter quiz, but for the purposes of my video here today, the cards and the end screens are not that important. Chapters are nice. Again, not that important. Chapters are largely created automatically by YouTube for you. If you go in and you upload a video, you can check a box that says automatically add chapters for me. And that's really nice. Sometimes if you were to put on like a DJ set or something on YouTube, a lot of times YouTube will divide it into chapters for you, and you can, they'll go in and name them. The creator can. So that is the optimization strategy. Now, the 7 and 8 are both important. I'm not going to do 9 and 10 today, but the content strategy is good. You do want to include a channel trailer. That is a video that's kind of an introduction to somebody if they come to your YouTube channel. But then after that, this section is, it's interesting. There's a lot of conflicting data out there and a lot of conflicting research, I should say, about why people watch videos on YouTube. And that is that I don't really think anybody watches a video. Like, people watch videos on YouTube for a lot of different reasons. Sometimes data is done where people, focus groups, survey respondents, they're given a survey and it's like, hey, why do you watch videos on YouTube? And they say, check one box. Nobody has ever watched videos on YouTube for one reason and one reason only. Think about the last time you were on YouTube and you watched a video. How often did you then end up on another video, which might have been funny or inspirational or educational or something that's not the reason that you were there originally? That is YouTube. That's the YouTube wormhole that people talk about. And that is that a lot of times, as long as there's something that catches your eye, people don't discriminate based on why they're there. They just want to see more stuff that provides value to them. Back to the crux of the courses that I teach in social media, the number one theme is that you want to create social media content that provides value to audiences. And on YouTube, people are there to be entertained, to learn, to be inspired. All of these things are there. Yes. But to say that they are on YouTube for inspiration less than something else is simply not true. People are there for all sorts of reasons. And I would argue that all 4 of these are pretty close, pretty close. Yeah, sure. Probably they aren't there for purchasing decisions as much as the other 3, 100%. But to somehow de-emphasize the inspiration or entertainment element in favor of learning and knowing instructions is just disingenuous, the way that I see it. Now, there's a lot of different video types, many of which were covered in my video content overview. And I will say I've done a lot of these. I've seen a lot of these. I don't think I need to go into definitions for these here today. But really, if you think about the successes of these, and there's examples of all of these, the how-to videos are massive. And that is because as people search a lot more how-tos on Google, a lot of times those YouTube results will appear on Google. So you're going to see all sorts of stuff where brands and creators and everybody is out there trying to create a YouTube how-to video because they're trying to drive more thought leadership, more authority, both for themselves and for the brand. Whereas the how-to video really helps to drive that, because if you watch a 5-minute video on how to, put insulation into a wall or something, that's going to both provide you some value. You're going to learn something, and you're probably going to trust whoever did that actual task, the guy or the woman who was putting the actual insulation into the wall. You want that person doing your house, right? Probably can't call them. They might not be anywhere near you, but you trust that person and you might watch another video of what they've done. Maybe next time you're going to watch them putting insulation in an attic and you're like, oh, that's how it's done. You may not give your money to them and have them come to your house and do it themselves, but you're going to trust that brand. And the next time you're on YouTube, or maybe it's time to buy something online, some sort of insulation stuffing tool, then you can go to their website and buy it on their e-commerce platform. It's that kind of brand awareness and pushing through the AIDA funnel, through the process of becoming a lead, through awareness all the way down to the action stage, that really resonates with a lot of buyers. Now, you don't need to worry about publishing videos regularly and at optimal times. Why? Because YouTube is the place where you post videos to get views after they're published. You want a video to be seen immediately, something that's very timely and relevant to be seen today. That's what social media is for. That's what Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, that's what that's for. It doesn't matter when you upload a video to YouTube. It has, I would argue, zero bearing on the views that you're going to get, because most of the time video views on YouTube happen days afterwards. And to think that you need to publish a video between 9 a.m. and 11 a.m. on a Sunday compared to another time of day is just not true to what YouTube is all about. YouTube is where you go to get videos viewed over time. I posted a video going over a social media simulation on Stukent, and I published it. I don't know what time of day, probably like midday. Probably, you know what? For argument's sake, let's say I published it on Tuesday night. I know it was at night because that's when I usually do these. Tuesday night, 11 p.m., I uploaded my video. It's gotten thousands of views since then. If I had uploaded it at Tuesday at 2 p.m., would it have gotten any viewer views? No. If I had uploaded it Wednesday at 2 p.m., would it have gotten more views? Maybe, if I don't know, 5 or 10 more. Does it matter at this point? I mean, you're dealing with very, very small discrepancies. And so, as has been my theme throughout many of my videos here, do not think about publishing videos at optimal times. Publishing videos regularly, yes, 100%. Optimal times, no. YouTube Live, important, fun, yes, 100%. I'm going to talk about YouTube Live and YouTube Shorts in a separate video, along with YouTube advertising, because, well, we've gotten to the point where the video is too long. So, yeah, I mean, I'm going to wrap things up there for now. In the second part 2, we're going to talk more about the YouTube content strategy. We're going to start with YouTube Live. We're going to talk about YouTube Shorts. And then we're going to dig into YouTube advertising, because this could be a long discussion. There is a lot of stuff here. How do you cut through the noise and figure out what's relevant and not relevant? That remains to be seen. So that is all for now. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. I know I went fairly quickly through it, and yet we still had a long video here. So thank you very much for watching.